for joining me on Mint Positions, joining me on the show. I want to congratulate you on 14 years of sobriety from crack cocaine.
Thank
I
you.
know that you have 30,000 social media followers across two platforms, TikTok and Facebook.
Yes.
And so I just welcome you here today. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. You're my first guest, and I'm happy to have you.
Oh, the special one.
Yes, you're the special one. You're the special one. So tell me about your childhood.
My childhood, it was it was okay.
Okay.
I grew up kind of spoiled
Okay, you were
by my
spoiled.
grandparents. I was raised by my grandparents, and
Okay.
and I was kind of spoiled,
Okay, were you an only child or?
No, I got a brother and a sister, then I got two more siblings, so I'm not the only child.
Okay, okay. Well, who spoiled you? Because usually it's usually the only child that's spoiled or the oldest or
Mm,
something like that. So
Well, I was the oldest,
okay,
and
okay,
then in some houses I was the only child. So
okay,
it's like I got spoiled everywhere I went.
okay, okay,
Yes,
okay. So primarily, you said you were raised by your grandparents.
yes.
Okay, so tell me about your grandparents.
Oh,
Were
they
they
were great.
strict?
They were great.
Okay,
They spoiled me.
they did.
They
Okay.
spoiled me. They just let me have my way. You
Oh,
know,
really?
they
Oh,
spoiled me.
wow. The only girl. Were you the only girl?
I was.
You're the only girl and the oldest at the time.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. So you ended up being raised by your grandparents, and where were you guys living? Were you born and raised here
Well,
in
I was
Arkansas?
no, ma'am. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay. Just show me state.
Yes, and I was
Okay.
born in St. Louis, and when I got maybe like I think 11, maybe 12,
Okay.
we moved to Arkansas
You and your
because
grandparents.
yes, my grandmother's mother lives in Reed, Arkansas, and we moved to Reed, Arkansas.
Okay. All right. So how did you end up coming to live with your grandparents?
Of I don't know all the details, but
Okay.
I do know that my mother was young at
Okay.
the time,
Yeah.
and she already had a child or
Okay.
two, and that's about all I know about that. I never really got into that. It really
Okay. So
just
were you closer to your grandmother, your grandma's baby, or grandpa's baby?
both.
Both. Okay. All right. So you grew up, you were kind of spoiled. You grew up in St. Louis, Missouri,
Yes,
and then you made your way to Arkansas
yes.
during a childhood or adulthood?
Childhood.
Childhood. Okay.
Yes,
Okay. And so you spent majority of your life in both places.
yes,
Okay. Okay. All right. So you're 14 years sober now. Can we talk a
yes.
little bit about, if you feel comfortable enough to share, like how did you get started on drugs? Like how did the addiction begin?
I do. Um, I was going through relationship problems.
Mm-hmm.
He cheating, I'm cheating, and
Okay.
it just. And then I was trying to sell drugs at the time.
You were selling drugs.
Yes, I was
Okay.
selling crack cocaine,
Okay. Okay.
and at the time I was
In
using.
in Arkansas or
Yes,
In Arkansas.
yes.
Okay.
This since I've been an adult, and
So
I
tall
was
Mickey,
using.
you was a drug
I was slanging a little bit.
dealer.
Yeah, I
Okay.
had them knocking at my door, in my window a little bit.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
Hmm.
And it's like I always liked to smoke marijuana.
Okay. Okay.
And so it's like one day I just decided to put them together, like heard everybody else was doing.
Okay.
I mixed it together. And so once I did that, the guy had called me about his part of the money
Hmm.
that I was selling for. And I was like, I don't got it. And he was like, why? And I was like, I smoked it. And he was like, oh hell no, I know you ain't did that. And so he said, you smoked it? And I said, yes. And he said, okay. So he said, I'll be down there. So
Yeah.
I was scared. I thought he finna come down there and
Because the plug on the way.
yes,
Oh
I
my
was
god.
scared. So
Okay.
once he got there, we sat down at the table
Okay.
and he put this and that up there
Okay.
and said, let me see what you're doing.
Oh wow.
Because he didn't believe that.
Okay. Okay.
And I went to show him what I was doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he was like,
So he
oh my
gave you more
God.
free drugs?
No, he just. I think he wanted to see was I doing it for real. So he
Okay.
wanted me to do it in front of him.
Because either he was gonna get you about spending his money or give you some sort of benefit of the
I
doubt,
don't
I
think he
guess.
was gonna get me. It
Around about
wasn't none
how
of that.
old were you?
Ooh, I probably had made it to my. Oh, my memory kind of messed up, baby.
But
So
were
maybe
you
30s.
30s? Okay,
Yeah,
okay, 30s.
yeah.
And so that addiction span was about how long do you think? Because you're sober now 14 years. So do you think you were on drugs 5 years, 10, more than 10?
I'll say about 10 years.
About 10
Off
years,
and on,
off and on. Okay,
because like once I moved down here from St. Louis,
okay.
I would
Be clean.
go back, move up there a little couple of years, and then I
Okay,
moved back down here. And so it was times that I was clean
okay.
for years and then went back like that.
Okay, so you be clean 2 or 3 years, and
Yes.
then some event happens or something happens. Do you think it was like events happening or people that you were around happening?
It was events.
Okay,
It was
events.
events.
So stressful life events would take place.
Yes. Like one time I had been clean so long, and it was just like a sunny day,
Yeah.
and me and my friend had went up to town and just decided to get some.
The friend was also using?
Yes, and she was already using.
Okay.
She hadn't stopped,
Okay. Okay.
and I was that was one of my clean periods, and
Mhm.
I mean, ain't like I said no or
Yeah.
nothing.
Did
I
your
think I the one initiated it. It just something just hit me.
did your grandparents and people like that find out about it, about you using, or did you kind of keep it undercover pretty good?
I'm sure they found out about it. It wasn't too. No one no way I can really hide it.
Okay.
I'm sure they knew
Because I
about
see
it.
you're kind of like a fashionista on your social media. I see you going to concerts and you're always dressed up. Were you still dressing up and things like that during that time of your
I thought
addiction?
I was, but I would look at a hot mess.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, I thought I was, baby.
And just like everybody else that went through the addiction during the 90s and early 2000s, your body change, weight loss, and things like that, you could visibly see it.
Yes, because I always have been on the slim side, but I mean, I got even,
Okay,
slimmer,
okay, okay.
so
Because I see you're kind of tall. Actually, how tall are you?
5'10".
5'10".
Yes.
Okay, okay. So 5'10", and then on with the drugs, you lost even more weight than how a thin person at 5'10" would be.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes.
I see that in your bio you spoke about having experienced occasional homelessness because of your addiction and things like that. Can we talk a little bit about that? I know that had to be a traumatic experience, being homeless of any kind. And I hear about people having to live in shelters and things like that. Did you ever have to live in a shelter?
I experienced homelessness, but it never went that far. I always had a cousin's house
Okay, okay,
or crack friend's house that I could go over and spend the
okay.
night.
So you never slept on the street, shelters, or anything like that.
I
Okay.
never slept on the street, and I never been to a shelter.
Okay. So your family was inviting, they treated you well, made sure you had everything that you needed and took good care of you. Did anything traumatic happen while you were sleeping? Well, if I could say couch to couch?
No,
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 no. Okay.
not while I was sleeping couch to couch. It happened in the streets, but not
Okay.
while I
Okay.
was
What
sleeping
kinds of
couch to couch.
things, when you say happen in the streets when you were homeless, like,
Well, like one time I had left. I'm trying to get it right. I had
okay.
left Arkansas,
Okay.
left the kids down here, and went to St. Louis.
Okay.
Stayed for a little while. So then I was in the process of coming back to Arkansas.
Okay.
And if I recall it, before the guy is a guy that stayed across the street that called himself was crushing on me, and we
Mm,
used to smoke together.
okay.
And he took me to the bus station. I
Hmm.
think we had been getting high before we went, but anyway, I missed my bus,
Okay.
so
You
we
missed your
ended up
bus back to Arkansas.
yes,
Okay.
and so we ended up at a little hotel off Grand in St. Louis.
Okay.
But to make a long story short, I was SA'd by St. Louis police.
A police officer?
Yes, yes.
And you knew he was a police officer?
Yes, he told me he had his badge and he was calling dispatch and all that. Uh, I after we got through getting high and the guy left,
Uh-huh.
I still had my money for my bus ticket.
That's right. Okay.
So I was gonna walk around, which I don't know the north side.
Of
It
St.
was my
Louis.
first time.
Okay.
So I was going around trying to see
Yeah.
where the drugs was.
Okay.
And he stopped me and he said he was getting me for solicitation.
So he said that he was getting you for being a prostitute?
Yes.
Did he try to, I mean, was he running a sting operation? I mean, he just said that or
If he was running a sting operation, he wouldn't have sexually assaulted me.
oh wow.
Yep. So he did
Wow.
what he did.
Yes.
Yep.
Wow. So you weren't homeless, sleeping in shelters and things like that, just couch to couch, and family and friends were welcoming to take you in.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
All right. What's the craziest thing you ever did while on drugs? We
Oh,
see social media sensations like Shorty, they call it Shouty, and
I like her.
that I see them singing, dancing, and things like that, and things like that.
Hmm.
Um, what was it a crazy ride?
It was a pretty crazy ride. I think the craziest thing I could think I did was this. This guy was letting me use his car. I was
Okay,
working for him at his job, at his place of business,
okay,
and he would let me use the car to take the kids to school and to get back and forth to work.
yeah,
I ended up going over to the crack house
yeah.
and getting so high, and I sold the man the car.
You sold you sold the drug dealer the car that you were using,
Yes,
borrowing from somebody else.
yes,
You did.
yes,
Oh
for three
wow.
hundred dollars.
For $300.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh wow. Now that is a crazy ride there.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. He went back and got his car. It was crazy as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I
So
had a question on here about, addiction is dangerous, because it puts you in situations that you never would have been in had you not been an addict, right?
yes,
So I was going to ask you about being in grave danger because of your addiction, but being SA'd by a police officer, I mean, it really doesn't get any more dangerous than that. So that question may have been asked and answered, but dangerous situations, you know, they happen. Were you in any other dangerous situations?
uh, that was probably about the most dangerous situation I ever been in. You know,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
at the time, like I said, I was high, and
Yeah.
every time he'll hit the button saying we're gonna call a dispatch and we're gonna take her kids, they in Arkansas and all that, I was getting scared and scared.
So he threatened you to take your kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Wow. I never would have imagined, I may have thought of a being robbed or, you know, stealing and things like that. But did you ever get into stealing anything?
No, I got robbed before. One time I was living in St. Louis, but I ain't
Okay.
never.
Because television, when they broadcast addiction on television, um, and this is reality, so it could be different. But on television, they portray addicts like they're stealing TVs and selling them.
Yeah, they
They're
do.
stealing microwaves from their family and things like
I
that.
ain't
But
never get into that because I was too scared to go to jail. I only been to jail twice. I think one time was for a speeding ticket or something, and the old fine or something.
oh
But no,
wow.
I didn't get down like that.
Okay, so you said that you were robbed, but you never stole anything.
No,
Were you robbed at gunpoint?
no, I was asleep when he came in the house, and I had like $700 and some dollars in my purse. I was saving up for a new place. That's one of the times I had moved to St. Louis,
Okay.
and when I woke up, he was still in the house. Yeah.
Somebody that you knew?
No, I didn't know him. I think when I come to find out after I end up doing a lineup, looking at the lineup, he used to live in that house before, that
So
apartment.
they caught the guy.
They caught him,
So
yes.
he had a key to get in?
No, in St. Louis, You got the door, and then you got this little small door over the top of that.
Right.
And our door had bars on it.
Okay.
He came in over the top little door at the top.
He jumped in the house.
I guess he jumped or hopped. I don't know.
So he took your $700 that you were gonna move with.
When I woke up, I felt like some air. And then I looked, when I woke up, I had looked down on the floor and all my stuff was scattered out on the floor. And then my daughter and my grandbaby, so this had to be, she 21, this had to be about 20 years ago, maybe a little, yeah, about
Oh
20 years ago.
wow.
So all my stuff on my wallet and stuff, I'm looking like, and then so when I got up and looked, he was still in the house standing at the back door.
The robber was in the house.
He was
with
still
you.
in the house, and I said, "Hey, just get whatever you want.
And
Don't
so
hurt
what
me
did
and
he
my
get?
baby."
The money and
He got all the money out of my purse. Look like the guy who apartment that I was staying in, he was kind of like a little bootlegger or something. So he got him some Colt 45s, and he
some
got some
beer.
pictures of Nelly that my guy friend had some. He got some pictures of Nelly and I like stuff like that.
Pictures of Nelly. He
Yes, the
robbed.
rapper Nelly.
He robbed and took pictures of Nelly.
Yes, and some beers and like cigars and stuff like that. And my $700 and some dollars.
Oh my God. So he was just as surprised, had to be, for you guys to be there.
I think so because he probably didn't know that we lived there
Okay. Okay.
because it was just like a little bootleg apartment.
And you mean to tell me they caught this guy
They caught him. They
and you
caught him.
pointed him out in the lineup?
I pointed him out. Well, actually, because he had his back turned to me, I didn't see him, but I seen the color sweatshirt he had on.
Okay.
So when they showed me the 6 people in the lineup, I
And
said he had on a shirt like this.
he had the same one on.
Yes, and they said
Girl.
that's him.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
so
That
that's
is
how that turned out.
crazy. Oh wow. So had he not had on that same shirt, you wouldn't have been able to
I
identify.
wouldn't.
So it was dark in the house.
It was dark.
Okay. Yeah. Oh wow. So that's a crazy ride you were on over the course of the years on and off crack cocaine. How did you or why did you decide to, you know what, this is not what I want anymore?
Well, I always been a praying sister
Amen.
all my life, even while I was up and down the streets. I used to be rolling them up and still
Yeah.
praying.
Yeah.
But it wasn't on me.
Mm-hmm.
It happened. It was early one Sunday morning. Me and my cousin was going to the grocery store. We call it town to town.
Okay.
And once we got to town, we went to the grocery store.
You didn't try rehab?
I tried rehab before,
Okay.
and when I got out, I still did the same thing.
So you went to rehab, got
I
out.
went out. I've been to rehab maybe 3 times, maybe 4. Uh, 3 times I got out, did the same thing because it was already in my head. When I get out, I'm going straight to the.
So while you're at rehab, you're thinking, hey,
When as soon as I get
I'm
that hit,
counting down these days.
yes, that's the way it goes. And then that last time I was doing good until a family member found her boyfriend deceased in the yard, and that triggered it.
Okay, one of those traumatic events, and it
Yes,
triggered you to start back using.
yes.
So, do you advocate for rehab?
No, I don't. I speak to people when I can. People being like in my inbox asking me for
Should they go to
support.
rehab or not?
No, they don't ask me about going to rehab. They ask me questions like how I did it.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, as far as rehab goes, if you had a family member that was addicted to drugs, would you recommend them to go to rehab? Like,
Depending on how bad the situation is, because you're not gonna stop until you want to stop. So rehab, you can go to rehab, you can go to on whatever hab. You're not gonna
okay.
stop until you want to stop.
So, rehab is not something that's going to make someone choose to stop.
The reason why I said depends on how they can get some little clean time. That's about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if they mind, they still want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I was thinking about as soon as I hit the streets, what I'm gonna do.
So ultimately you quit because you've been out for 14 years.
Yes,
Okay.
and that was when we went to town, as I say. Went to the grocery store.
Here in Arkansas or St. Louis?
That was here in Arkansas. It was
Okay.
in McGee, Arkansas at the
Okay.
time. We went over to one of my cousins' house, Pete,
Okay.
and he just had a general conversation with me.
Pete did.
Yes, and my
Okay.
cousin, we just talking general conversations,
Yeah.
about life. And he gave me $5. And so in my mind, I can't wait to get back to Reed so I can try to get a couple more dollars so I can
Yeah.
go spend this five,
Yeah.
money. But it's like I really don't remember a lot else.
Okay.
But Monday morning when I woke up, I still had the $5.
You still had the five he gave you the night before.
That
That
Sunday morning, remember that was Sunday morning he gave me that $5.
okay, okay.
That Monday morning I still had it.
Oh wow. Okay.
I didn't go. I
And
ain't,
that was out of the ordinary for you.
and I ain't never been back.
Never been back. You chose to.
So when I say I can't explain it, it's what God did for me.
Yes. That's what he
I don't
did.
know if he's gonna do it like that for everybody else,
Right,
because
right,
there's a couple of other options.
right.
You could be dead.
Yeah,
You could end up in the pen.
yeah,
You could end up. I mean, I'm crazy, but I ain't that crazy. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? A
So you
lot of
had a
people.
made up mind. How did you bring yourself to that point? Did you get to your lowest low, or why did you?
I got to my lowest low, but like I said, I mean, it's unexplainable. It's what God did for me.
That's
You
what he
know,
did for you.
it's what He did
Amen.
for me. I mean, because I was steady
Amen.
going.
Yeah. Would you say that that experience was easy? To quit. To, I mean, once your mind was made up, or did that
Well,
even making up?
once God did what He did for me, it was over.
It was
Like I
over.
said, I never thought about it again. I can't explain it.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
wow, a
I can't explain
miracle.
it.
We're looking at a miracle. My God. So
It's what
now
He
you're
did.
clean, 14
Never
years.
thought about it. And then I don't want to touch on it, but like I said, I always have been the type of person to do the trees.
Okay,
I
okay.
continue to do the trees.
And marijuana is legal now. Do you have your
Yes,
legal marijuana card?
I'm working on it because I got a couple of conditions
Okay,
with my back. My lumbar spine is messed up, and
okay.
so I'm working on all that.
Oh wow, oh
Yes,
wow.
ma'am.
Yeah. So all of your daughters endured that with you, and you have four daughters. How are you proud of them? How are they doing? Enduring all of that that you shared with us.
They doing they doing pretty good.
Oh,
All my
good,
daughters are
good.
doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we made it through this
Amen.
because, like I said, doing my addictions, I never strayed away from them. I might have stayed away sometime, and
Mhm.
I would go around them looking ugly and crazy, but
Mhm.
I always tried to see them.
Yeah. So the statistics show that sometimes when you have someone that is an addict, um, their children, they go to prison, they become addicts of the same thing or similar. So, are any of your children in prison? Have any of them ever been to prison?
None of my children's been to prison, and none of them is addicts.
Amen. God is truly good.
Yes.
God is truly good. So, you have 30,000 followers now across Facebook and TikTok. How did you get in content creation? So you had an addiction, you beat that, you're married to a United States veteran. How did you get into content creation?
I don't know. I always have like the see
Put
the
on,
videos.
oh, put up videos. Okay,
Yes, I
okay.
always have like the put the videos on, and when they said content creator, they give you a little change. I just jumped on board. Now I ain't up there yet.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just down there,
You on the
but
way, 30,000 followers.
I'm working.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
working.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So, how long have you been at it? Did you just start this year or?
Maybe for a couple of years, but
Okay.
I'm not consistently.
Consistent.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
not
okay.
consistent
Do
with
you
it.
feel like you're more consistent now than you started, or are you tapering off now and less consistent?
It's kind of backwards and forward because I
Okay.
have my good days and my bad days. Sometimes my health,
Yeah.
I don't even be want to post no video.
Okay. So your back conditions that you just told me about influences some of your content creating days and
Yes,
tasks.
it
Okay.
does. It
Hmm.
does. It's stressful, and I haven't punched the clock since August of 2023, and it gets
Is
to
that
me.
something that you think that you can? Is that can you medicate that away, or would you have to have? I mean,
Oh
is there
well, it's
anything you
no
can do
cure
about
for
that?
my condition.
There's no cure for your
No,
condition.
so
Oh
I
wow.
just
Oh wow.
medication and Yes.
Wow. Well, I got to see your social media and you're living life to the fullest. I mean, you're going to concerts. They had you singing at one
When
concert.
I can, I do. I do.
Um, you're going to rodeos, all kinds of stuff, traveling. You vlog about that. You're really living your life to the fullest at this time, from my point of view. Do you feel that that's because you overcame that traumatic part of your life, or have you always just been a person that likes to go and do things
I
and
always have been a person that like to go and do things, but since this, I kind of took it a step further.
okay, okay,
I want to
yeah,
do a little more. I feel
yeah,
like I missed out on
right, right,
a lot.
right. And God is giving you that time to restore all of the things that you missed out on. And when I say I look at your
Yes.
content, you don't miss a beat. I mean, you dance, you sing, you.
Thank you. When I can, I
I
do. I
see you
try to
at the
shake a
beach.
leg.
I saw you took your grandkids to Disney.
We
How many
did.
grandkids do you have?
I have 7.
Seven
I have
grandchildren.
7. Yes.
Full time grandparent.
Yes.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Yes.
Seven grandchildren. And
Yes.
you take them to Disney. Do y'all have any trips planned soon?
We got a family trip planned.
Okay, where are you guys headed?
Girls. Oh, we going to Dallas.
Okay. All
Yes.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So, what advice would you give a current addict? Someone, I mean, it doesn't just have to be crack cocaine, because we have addictions now where people are addicted to their medication.
Yes.
So pills, they're
Yes.
addicted to alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
gambling,
Mm-hmm.
just any addict. Is there any advice that you would give them?
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Stay prayed up.
Stay
If you
prayed
ain't
up.
did it, don't do it.
Amen.
And stay prayed up, baby. Just stay prayed up.
So that's the same advice you would give someone who has, they got the YOLO, and then it's gone from YOLO to Frito or something like that. So YOLO is you only live once. So
Mm-hmm.
they tell them, hey, you do the Coke line or take this X pill. You only gonna live once. It's fun.
It
They
only
got
take one
Frito.
time to get you addicted, baby. Don't do it.
It
Please
only
don't.
take one time.
Please don't.
Don't do it at all.
Don't do it at
Not for a
all.
fun night, bachelorette party.
Not for nothing. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
I promise you, don't do it, baby. You're
Don't
gonna
do
make
it.
the biggest mistake of your life
Oh
if
wow.
you do.
Okay. So, men positions is founded on a verse in the Bible. It comes out of Genesis. Okay.
Okay.
So Joseph was put in a pit, and he went to prison, and he ended up being second in charge over an entire palace in Egypt. Um, his brothers actually are the cause of him being placed in the pit, which caused him to go to prison. But when he was confronted, uh, not confronted by them, but when he was able to speak with them later in life, and he was in the palace in charge running things, they were afraid of him. They thought he was going to get revenge. But he told them, what you guys meant for evil, God meant it for good. And so everything that I went through, I ended up being where I was supposed to be anyway. Do you feel like that, or do you have any regrets? Do you feel like you are in a great place and your children, and it's really, you guys are in a good position?
Now I'm in a good position,
Okay.
but I do regret using crack cocaine.
You regret you
I
ever
regret
did
that
it.
with all my heart.
You regret
I
you
regret that.
you regret you ever used it.
Running out and leaving my kids and stuff like that. I regret that.
If you could go back, you would have never used your own supply.
I wouldn't have never did that. That was the biggest mistake I made in my life.
Oh wow. Oh
Yes,
wow.
ma'am.
Right. But you're here on the other
I'm
side of
here.
it. And what the devil meant for evil, God meant it for good. And here you are,
But God,
motivating and inspiring other people, and you're using your voice, you're using your experience for good. So some good is coming out of that. You're not just leaving it and not sharing, to help other people.
yes, ma'am.
So this is our last question. What's next for you? What goals do you have? What are you trying to get to 1 million followers on social media?
Oh, I'm
What's
trying to get
next for
up
Talk
there.
Mickey?
I'm trying to get at least 100,000 or something. But I wanna, as I like when I go to town, sometimes I see the addicts.
You see him, yeah,
I see them,
yeah.
and I want to do something for them.
You
If
want
it
to
ain't
get
nothing but make them a little bag with some little deodorant and
okay.
soap or something. I mean, I want to do something.
So you're considering running a nonprofit, okay, to
Outreach
help them.
program or something. I just want to, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
help them in some kind of way because
yeah,
we got a couple of that I pass by
yeah.
on a daily basis.
And
And,
sometimes people think that everything has to be big, but you can do that. You can start small,
yes,
and then before you know it, it's just you, and then it's other people donating to you, or
yes,
somebody might want to join you, or one of the addicts that you actually interact with could possibly join you and be clean and things like that. So I encourage you to do that. I think it sounds wonderful, and don't feel like you have to have, oh, I got to have everything going to get
yeah,
this going. You just
yes,
gotta go.
yes.
If you got God on your side, you can get anything
I
done.
most definitely have him on my side.
Yes, yes. Amen. Well, thank you for joining me today. If you would like to share your social media handles so that people that may be watching can follow you on social media, I'll also tag it on the bottom of the screen. You're
Okay,
Tall Mickey on Facebook.
Facebook and Vetwife05 on TikTok.
So Tall Mickey, Mickie
Yes,
on Facebook, and Vet Wife '05 on TikTok.
yes.
All right. Thank you. Mint
Thank you.
Positions. Thank you guys for tuning in.